Okay, YouTube, I've got a alternative metal review, and that is Three Doors Down. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of folks have probably heard of this release. It's their first album, The Better Life. Went 6 times platinum for a rock album. This is extremely good because it had a song that reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Like, it's one thing to hit number 1 on the rock charts, but to actually almost hit number 1 on the Billboard charts, this means that it's a super large song. So the song that they dropped was the song Kryptonite. Now, once you hear the guitars, the melody, which is a great melody for a song, I mean, it's hypnotizing, it's very infectious, and I think it's pretty much recognizable to almost any person who's heard the song. And this is such a large song, but the album didn't stop there. So between the year 2000 and basically 2002, when their second album came out, it was chock full of hits. And for alternative metal, they handled it rather well. I mean, between that, Puddle of Mud, and a couple other groups, Nickelback, and a few of the other cats that were around that time, they escape me right now, but there were quite a bit of alternative metal groups around. You know, just depending upon what radio you were listening to, you probably remember several of those songs, like Blurry, like Wasting My Time, and a few other ones that were just like it. So, point being was Kryptonite was a extremely large song, and it carried this album. Once again, the lead single is usually one of the songs that the project is remembered for. It helped push it. If you hit that high on the charts, you're pretty much guaranteed to at least get to 3 or 4 times platinum. But they did manage to hit number 1 on the rock charts a few more times with the songs Loser, and in some ways there was another song, but I didn't like it, so I don't remember what it was called. But they did have 4 singles. Duck and Run was another one, but that one was more rock based. So, let's talk about Loser, the song that you probably have heard if you like rock, but you may not have heard if you just listened to radio. So this one kind of has a real off-putting melody to it. It's not as catchy as Kryptonite's, but it's just very low-key. That's the thing about it, is it almost feels like a song you'd expect from someone like Everlast. And yeah, it feels like something you'd expect from someone like Everlast, someone with more acoustic style, more acoustic feeling to it, but the production is still, I mean, it feels something that is, it just has a hazy feel to it. That's really, it's just hazy, and I appreciate that. Duck and Run is the rock song. Now, I wasn't expecting them to do it because alternative metal usually doesn't do stuff like that, but they did and handled it pretty well. I mean, they have similarities to Puddle of Mud and a few other ones. Stained was another one who was big on the alternative metal charts. So, out of 11 songs, I'm thinking I did wind up liking about 7 of them. So, yeah, that lets you know that it's probably worth the purchase. But, I mean, once again, if you're just looking for rock, I mean, it's kind of a different shade, which I don't really cover as much. So you're probably wondering, well, if I want to jam out and I feel like being energetic and energized, where the hell do I play this record? Well, there are a few songs like that, but most of them are not singles. So you get songs like Better Life and By My Side and then Duck and Run that do this. But for the most part, it just has a more homely feeling. That's really what it feels, as if kind of more of a travel, more thoughts on where you're going with your life, more as what you're doing for the night. So, this could almost be considered job music, but this could also be considered like there's a word for it. Ambitious music. I mean, it feels as if the amount of ambitions that you have, if you've got your path set out for you and you know what you want out of life, this is coding music, and this is like a supplement to that sort of style. It has direction. That's the word I'm looking for. And so I'm going to give this album 7 out of 11. I'm going to give this album a 7.5 out of 10. And so I'll list the songs that you need to hear. So they are Kryptonite, Loser, Duck and Run, Not Enough, Life of My Own, Better Life, and By My Side. Now, I explained Kryptonite and Loser to you. Duck and Run is the rock song to go for immediately. Life of My Own has similarities to Kryptonite, and they actually do attempt that a few more times. Like, I think the song Not Enough does that as well. So, if you hear Kryptonite and you think, damn, I just wish they had another song like that, well, they do attempt it. It just didn't chart that well. That was really the only problem. Could they have made a song like that again? I think they probably could have, but it would have had to had something that would have been as... there's a word for it. They basically made a catchphrase out of Kryptonite. If I go crazy, will you still call me Superman? And, that can be quoted and used. Guys can think, if I go nuts, are you going to call me Superman still? I don't really feel like the rest of the songs did that as well. You have Kryptonite, and then you have songs like Better Life, Life of My Own. You need more of those type songs. I'm not saying their songwriting is bad, but just in terms of that sort of thing. But that's pretty much the only reason why they didn't get another Kryptonite-sized song. But they definitely hit #1 a few more times on the rock charts. So, but yeah, so the social score I will give a 8.5, just because they charted as much as they did. But for me, I botched down the score because I only like 3 out of 4 of the singles. So the only other thing is the Future. They did drop an album in 2016. They've been gone since 2011. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. I will probably review more of them. And can this record be topped? I think the answer is not really. And, judging by the magnitude of the songs they had, this is pretty much a warranted purchase. But just the small things that I wanted most are the only things that keep me from giving it a higher score. Another song as catchy as Kryptonite, and another few rock singles like Duck and Run. But, that's about it. They're just minor complaints.